Yesterday we had a lunchtime meeting that was a special call meeting for County Council at 12:30 at the Civic Center. We've been having them at the Civic Center due to COVID-19 to have an environment that's more spread out where more people can come but stay distant from each other. We haven't had a meeting on a regular schedule in a long time due to the pandemic, but whether or not we have a meeting or not, issues come up that need to be addressed, and so we need to get together periodically to do so. So yesterday was a little bit of a long meeting, and there were some key items. Some of them were routine, like normal, as we went to rezone certain property from commercial to agriculture. Most of it was not very controversial. It was sort of administrative in nature. And then we also had a series of economic development projects. And Burris Nelson and his staff does a wonderful job. But periodically they come to us, and these are companies making an investment in the community. And it could be millions of dollars, many jobs, and they're looking for a tax cut over the long term, but we negotiate it where they're going to be paying more taxes than currently was available with that site or that institution. So we want to make sure it's a win-win for the community. One of the items that garnered the most attention was the mask ordinance, and that was on the agenda put forth by Mrs. Floyd yesterday. We already have a mask ordinance in the city of Anderson and some private places I put in a mask ordinance, but you know, like right now I'm not wearing a mask, but I'm isolated and I'm staying socially distanced from everybody. So it didn't garner much debate, but it didn't pass. So myself and Ms. Floyd voted for it, but the council chose not to take it up and not pass it at this time. So I don't know if that'll be taken back up or debated at a later date. I don't believe so, but that was something that garnered attention. And we got input from citizens because different people had different takes on that and the efficacy of masks. And so that was on the agenda yesterday. Also, there were some things of routine of nature, or some speed bumps and some subdivisions that wanted to be safer for kids because kids are riding bikes and a lot of folks are in a hurry, and we want them to slow down and just be conscious of the environment around them. And then we went into a couple of recaps from committee meetings. And so, like always, council will break up periodically and have committees, and it may be Public Works Committee, Public Safety Committee, and that's where we get into some real meat of the issues and some details and then bring back guidance to council. Well, yesterday the Public Works Committee came back with some bids for the landfill, and they also were talking about a new initiative to take minimum sized lots in unzoned parts of the county. So in unzoned parts of the county, a lot can be like 8,000 square feet. Well, they're talking about wanting to make that 16,000 square feet because stormwater and how water runs off is a growing issue in the county, and also the speed of development. So we had some engineers and developers talk about how this would not help development because it makes lot size larger, but then we also had people talk about how this would help stormwater and some conservation items. So council passed it on first reading, but didn't want it to go back to committee. So I expect it to go back to committee to garner more debate and for people to talk about more specifics of it. Whether or not it'll pass second or third, it's yet to be seen. It'll probably be brought back up, maybe in a similar fashion, or it may be changed. We don't know yet. But that came out of the Public Works Committee. And then from the Public Safety Committee, one of the things we talk about all the time is EMS. So wherever you live in the county, we want an EMS structure to be on site in 9 minutes. And we want somebody to be there that can help you. And so whether it's a paramedic or an EMT, especially in the case of like a heart condition or a stroke, we want to make sure that somebody's there quickly and that they can help you. So we're constantly reevaluating, working with our squads, working with our contractors to make sure that we're meeting that requirement. Well, the pandemic has affected EMS because EMS workers are working with people and sometimes they have to jump out and quarantine. We were already at a shortage of EMS workers because not as many people are going into the field. So the county is working with the providers to make sure that we don't miss a beat and that we're still able to get there in that 9 minutes, and that we're able to make sure that somebody's there who's qualified to help you. So one of the things we do is a quick response vehicle. You may hear QRV, and that's a paramedic, maybe an SUV or a truck that'll get there quickly and make sure that you're stabilized and healthy, and then shortly after, an ambulance is coming to transport you if you need to be so. So that garnered a lot of attention in the Public Safety Committee, and that's an ongoing item that we look at a good bit. From there, we didn't have any appointments, but we did go into executive session. And council does this periodically, not to be secretive, not to be non-transparent, but sometimes we have to go in an executive session because we're talking about contracts, we're talking about personnel matters that, you can't talk about out in the public. And so we go into the executive session, we talked about some contracts with EMS because we were making sure that we can meet requirements. And we also are talking about things like franchises where other people can come into the county and offer EMS services. So no action was taken from the executive session. It was more informative to the council meeting members. And then we went to what we do at the end of each meeting. We do requests for council. And this is where each council member will support a local organization with a level of discretionary spending. So some of the items were some soccer in the Tri-County area, the Anderson Pregnancy Care Center. There's a distinguished young women's group that's doing a lot of good things, and we wanted to support them. And then, like always, we wrapped out the night with remarks from council, where individual council members will just talk about things going on in their district, and then we always hear from citizens. So as always, I encourage you to reach out to your county council member. They're accessible. Also, if you can attend, and I know it's difficult midday sometimes, but once we get back on our regular schedule, we're going to be at night. If you can attend, please do so. You'll always be given the opportunity to speak on an issue and let your views be known, because council wants to represent you, and to do that we need to interact with you. So that wrapped up the meeting. We haven't scheduled the next meeting yet because we're not on our regular schedule due to the state of emergency, but I expect that we'll have another meeting in September in which we'll put it out for public notice and make sure people are aware ahead of time.